No, we're not happy with it at all.
Let's move on to Amazon, and then we'll come back to some general questions at the end. Now, Amazon, I buy a book from you. I do it actually online. I'm a regular buyer, and when I buy a book, what I do is I get amazon.co.uk. That's what I'm told. Is that correct? I mean, I can show you. Plenty of, in fact, I think you write to me every day with new offers. But it's from amazon.co.uk. Do you accept that?
Thank you.
Do you accept that?
Chair, maybe I can explain how we're set up as a single European company, because I think that's very useful background for the committee.
I think, well, let me ask me the questions, because I'm asking you from a UK perspective, because it's the UK where we seek the taxes in these troubling times. You know, we want everybody to give their fair share, all in it together. So I just want you to explain to me. I buy from amazon.co.uk. That's where I buy from.
So Amazon.co.uk is the trading name for Amazon EU SAL, and we operate.
But you're saying to me this is it's a UK company that I'm buying from?
No, you're purchasing from a single European company. We operate a single European.
No, I'm buying from. It says to me. I'll show it to you. It says Amazon.co.uk. Is that actually to lie to me about the origins of your company?
No, not at all. Maybe for the committee's benefit, I can explain how we manage our business across.
I just want to pursue this issue, because I think I'm buying from a British company. That's what I think when I get an email from you, or when you advertise. I think I'm buying from a British company. I then agree to purchase something, and I get an email from you telling me that it's being delivered from a UK warehouse. That's correct too.
Yes, we have 8 warehouses in the UK.
And I'm told how much I'm going to have to pay for the Royal Mail to deliver the books or the toys or the kettles to my home.
Chair, if I may, it may be that it's delivered from a fulfilment centre in the UK, but it could actually be delivered from, warehouse. We use the term fulfilment centre.
No, because I'm always asked to pay the UK Royal Mail postage. That's what I get on my bill.
So you will be charged the postage as a UK customer, but we may be actually delivering that product from any of our in excess of 20 fulfilment centres across the UK.
Well, I can tell you, they always come to me with a UK postage stamp on them. I am a regular purchaser of books, toys, kettles, blah, blah, blah. It always comes with a UK stamp on it.
So again, Chair, if I can explain, we're running a single European business.
It comes with a UK. I believe I'm dealing with a UK company. It comes to me via the Royal Mail with a UK stamp on it. That's what happens. And I tell you again, so far, I might change my mind, I've been purchasing regularly from you in that way. When did any book that I ever purchase ever get to Luxembourg?
So we do not have
Have you got books in Luxembourg?
No, we do not have a fulfilment centre in Luxembourg. We have our European headquarters in Luxembourg, and as a single...
But the books are here?
The books could be in the UK, they could be in France. If you're purchasing English books, it's very likely that they will be in our fulfilment centres in the UK.
Thank you. Well, I do on the whole purchase. I wish I could say I'm fluent in other languages. On the whole, I purchase. So I buy from, I think, a UK company. I am billed by the UK company. I'm billed from the UK.
No, I think you'll see that the Amazon.co.uk is a trading name for a Luxembourg company, which is Amazon.
I'm billed from the UK. I can tell you that's where it comes from.
Right.
My bill comes from the UK. Do you want to see one of my bills? I've got them here.
I can assure you, Chair, you will be billed by a Luxembourg company, albeit we will be applying.
You're telling me the bills are printed in Luxembourg?
No, the bills themselves may be printed in one of our fulfilment centres. That's one of the types of services that's...
in your
warehouses. Apologies, sorry, I thought I'd sort of clarify.
So the bills are printed in the warehouses, which on the whole, because I buy English books, are in the UK, and I think I'm buying from a UK company. So what business is conducted in Luxembourg?
So in Luxembourg, we have our European headquarters. To give the committee a sense, we have in excess of 500 people working in our European headquarters in Luxembourg. In fact, we're still recruiting very heavily. We expect to add an extra 100 people to our European headquarters in Luxembourg.
And how many do you have in the UK?
So across the UK today, we have about 15,000
The figure we've got is
employees.
2,265, to be absolutely precise. That's the figure we've got of the people who employ here.
No, if I may, I'd like to correct that, Chair. So we have in excess of 15,000 people working.
15,000?
1,000, yes.
My
Working
goodness.
in the committee.
Totally.
If I may continue, Chair, and we've just announced that we're actually hiring an extra 10,000 seasonal employers to help us with Christmas.
Okay.
And Chair, if I may finish, just one final point. Just in September, while we were opening our new warehouse in Hemel Hempstead, we announced that we would be also hiring an extra 2,000 people over the next 12 to 24
Well, we're
months.
delighted you're having business in the UK. I'm delighted that I thought I was buying from a UK company, which was delivered from a UK warehouse, books that have never appeared in any other jurisdiction. Why aren't you paying tax in the UK?
So, Chair, we do pay tax in the UK. And
Why aren't you paying corporation tax in the UK?
we pay corporation tax in the UK.
How much do you pay in corporation tax?
so,
0.2% is the figure I've got.
Well,
So
I'm
think,
happy.
or something like that.
So
I probably got it wrong.
The accounts of our UK company, which is Amazon.co.uk Limited, are publicly filed. I'm very happy. I think for 2011. We had revenues of 207 million. We made an after-tax profit of 1.2 million, and we recorded a tax expense of 1.8 million pounds.
Come in on this. Can we just follow Chair's paper chase a bit further, because clearly she's under the understandable perception that she's buying from the UK. Can you talk about the invoicing and how that works, and how the money flows, and how the money flows then back to the UK for delivery and so on? What are the actual arrangements?
If I may, what I was trying to do at the outset was explain that we're operating a single European company, which is, I think, to your point, that companies our retail business across Europe, which is known as Amazon EU SAR. The accounts, and that's a pan-European business with operations. We have 5 websites across Europe. We're serving tens of millions of customers across the whole of Europe, as well as sellers. And that's our principal trading company in Europe. The accounts for that company are publicly available in Luxembourg, and I'm very happy to talk to those accounts as well.
But when Chair buys her book, the money comes to Luxembourg, and you just essentially pay a small amount back to the UK to have it delivered. Is that correct?
So the company we have in the UK, Amazon.co.uk Limited, is a service company for group companies, including our Luxembourg European
And
headquarters.
how is Amazon.co.uk limited? What is its income? How does it get its income?
So, as I mentioned, these are publicly available. They're filed in Companies House. So for 2011, the turnover of Amazon.co.uk Limited was 207 million pounds.
From doing what? How did it get the?
So that's essentially for providing services in the UK for the Amazon Europe companies. Its services such as operating the fulfillment centres, which is going to be receiving inventory, picking, packing, and then passing on those products to our carrier.
And what's
declared in Luxembourg as sales into the UK?
So, to the point, as a European company, what we file in our accounts are our Europe-wide revenues. For 2011, we had Europe-wide revenues of 9.1 billion euros. We made, and so if I may, I'll give the committee some other data points there. We made a profit after tax of 20 million euros on those sales.
20 million on a 9 billion?
Yes.
Just can you answer my question? Out of the 9 billion, how, I mean, it looks like a peanuts profit. Presumably that was all exported to some tax haven.
No, not at all.
Oh, where did it go then?
That is the profit that we make
Say it again, how much? On 9 billion you made?
I mean, maybe, Chair, just to give you a parallel, I can talk to our worldwide figures for 2011. Our worldwide...
No, don't befuddle us with that. We really care about the UK because we think you're not paying the right tax in the UK. So that what I'm interested in, how much of your Luxembourg business is sales into the UK?
Fortunately, we've never broken out revenue figures on a country or website basis.
Come on, you can't be serious.
We operate a pan-European business. Those are the only figures we have ever broken out.
I used to be a finance director of a pan-European business, and if somebody told me, what do you sell in each country, I'd be fired immediately if I didn't have the answer to that question. That's
so
ridiculous.
Those are numbers that we've never disclosed publicly.
Will you disclose them privately?
I'm very happy, should the committee wish, to come back and see whether it's possible to disclose them privately to the committee.
That's totally evasive.
Austin, Steve.
Did you say you don't know the sales and revenue in each jurisdiction, or you don't want to tell the world?
What I said was that we've never publicly disclosed any sales figures for those jurisdictions.
So you do know? So you for instance, make a cost-benefit analysis as to whether it's worth your while investing in capital, say building a new warehouse at Milton Keynes or wherever. You have a business case for each individual jurisdiction, each region.
So we'd certainly have a business case for making a large investment, such as building a new fulfillment centre. In fact, we're currently looking to build 3 new fulfillment centres in the UK, and obviously we present a very specific business case on each of those fulfillment centres.
Okay, can I just come back for Mr. Swales' questions, because I think I'm fascinated by this idea that this entity in Switzerland, which in 2010 employed 134 people, as opposed to 15,000 in the UK, is the engine room of this business in terms of value and tax liability. What about payroll? Where's payroll? Where's the centre of activity in terms of finance and payroll?
So if I may just correct, it's in Luxembourg, not in Switzerland. It's not 134. Well, we're in excess of 500 people today,
500.
And we're hiring.
As opposed to 15,000. Where's finance and payroll? For the UK business?
So all the strategic functions for our business in Europe are based in Luxembourg. That could be our retail business, our third-party business, our transportation teams, our customer service, HR, finance.
Where is finance and payroll for your UK operations? Where is human resources and web design for your UK operations?
Okay. Maybe I can come to that. Working for Amazon.co.uk Limited, we do also have people looking at those issues supporting the European company.
That's a very circuitous answer, I mean, to a straightforward question. We're following the sort of audit trail here with the book. Okay, the book is billed from the UK, it's packed from the UK, it's bought in the UK from a domain name which ends with .co.uk, okay? I'm asking you, we're talking about the value added to the business. Is it in the UK or is it overseas? And I'm asking you, are the support functions for that business in the UK?
So the employees of the UK entity are basically working for Amazon.co.uk, and they are being rewarded for that in the revenue figures of the UK company.
So if I'm Joe Bloggs, I want a job driving a forklift truck at the Milton Keynes warehouse. Who interviews me? Who processes my application form? Who ticks my diversity form, whatever, to get a job with you? Is it in Europe or is it in the UK?
So I'm not familiar with the details of that, but I can certainly find out exactly how that would work. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know how a specific applicant would be.
Somebody in the UK, do you go through the recruitment process in the UK or in Luxembourg?
You would clearly go through, if you're working for the UK company, you would go through the recruitment process with the UK company.
So, and who pays those people in terms of their monthly salary?
That is paid by the UK company.
So, okay, so we've got the recruitment and payroll and finance and HR are all in the UK.
I don't think that's a fair representation. I think what you have is on a European-wide basis, all these functions are led by people who are physically based in Luxembourg, working.
Yeah, but they don't go for the job interview in Luxembourg, do they? If you're driving a forklift truck and shifting books in Peterborough or Milton Keynes in the warehouse,
no, you would be going for the job interview with the UK limited company, because that would be who your employer would be.
which leads one to believe that that is where essentially the core activity is in generating the wealth.
No, I disagree again. I think what we're operating as a pan-European business. So, for example, that person working in the fulfillment centre in the UK may actually be shipping products that are purchased off our French website by a customer in Belgium. And I think that's very important for the committee to understand that that's how we operate as a business.
You've already said that if they're buying an English product, an English book in English in the UK, it is most likely that that will be fulfilled from a UK warehouse. Presumably the same is true for a French book in French, published by a French publisher and sold in France to a French buyer, isn't it?
There are 2 points I think I'd say to that. Obviously, one of the things with Madam Chair, when she ordered her book on Amazon, one of the things we were keen to do is obviously deliver that to her as quickly as possible. So for English books, many of them obviously will stock in our fulfillment centres in the UK, exactly so we can offer same-day delivery to our customers.
I think we all understand that if you tried to fulfil for Mrs. Hodge from your fulfilment centre in Tierra del Fuego, it would take a lot longer. What we're really trying to get at, and what Mr. Jackson was trying to get at, is where is the underlying economic activity, the components of which create what we all know as added value, and which eventually creates value-added tax, or would if it weren't books. And it seems from your answers that the answers to those questions are in the UK. You said that the people who work in the UK are employed by Amazon.co.uk Limited, that company. They're paid by that company, presumably with money that company has in the UK, correct?
Well, it's money, it's revenues that company makes.
Right, in the UK.
Let me make clear. It is the revenues, for example, from Madam's Chair's purchase of the book were revenues that accrue to Amazon EU SAR, not to the UK company.
So the money, which, if I'm Mr. Jackson's forklift truck driver in Milton Keynes and I'm working each month and I get paid my salary at the end of the month, that money goes into my British bank account. Where does it come from? Does it come from a British bank account controlled by Amazon? Yes or no?
Yes. So it would, and I can confirm this to the committee, but I'm almost certain it would come from Amazon.co.uk Limited.
Does it come from a British bank account controlled by Amazon? Yes. So it's not a case that the people in Luxembourg have to wire over some money each month to pay this chap's salary. It's actually sitting in a UK bank account controlled by Amazon, and that's where the money originates or starts its journey that ends up in the forklift driver's bank account.
Amazon.co.uk is a service company in the UK providing services to Amazon EU SAR for which it receives payment.
Control Auditor General, then I've got Austin, Steve, Nick, Fiona, Ian.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple of very quick questions. So, the quite low turnover in the UK is because the UK company is the way you have it set up is the UK company provides services and its customer is the European company for their services. Is that right? Okay, so
one of
right.
Group
Okay, but they get an invoice. They send their invoice to Luxembourg and get paid, and that's where the money that goes into the bank account more or less comes from. They're not handling the books. They don't have ownership in the books.
I pay in pounds, actually.
I know, but I'm not. I know, but I'm just trying to. That's just bank details. And so when the services that these UK company are doing are essentially handling services, they don't actually own the book at any point.
The UK company does not own the inventory.
Right. I'm only just saying that for clarity. Now, my second point, if I may bring you back, I'm sorry because I heard the discussion. You know perfectly well what sales are happening everywhere in Europe. Otherwise, you couldn't possibly run this company, the advertising or anything else. So if you're not giving that information, it's because you choose not to. That's right, isn't it?
No, let me stress, we're operating on a pan-European basis.
I know, but you know the information. You can't possibly pretend, and it's really quite annoying to listen to, that you can possibly be running a strategy in Europe and not know your territorial profitability. You're doing advertising, you're putting warehouses on the assumption of sales volume. Don't come on, it's actually quite insulting to everybody's intelligence to say that you don't know what sales volumes are going to be in the territory. That's just not feasible as an argument. So you can't possibly advance that. I don't think anyone who knows anything about business would accept that line.
As I said previously,
sorry,
it's not numbers that we do disclose, but I'm very happy to go back to the company and see whether we're willing to...
Can I just check, building on the CNAG, that you don't disclose to the SEC country-specific data? No. You don't file, in your filings to the SEC, you don't put, for example, what UK earnings would be?
I'm not aware that we have that in our UK SEC filings.
You see, what we're getting at, and you can see these conversations, is your entire economic activity is here in the UK. I even pay in pounds. I do pay in pounds. It never comes off my bank account in euros. Your entire activity is here, yet you pay no tax here. And that really riles us. It riles us.
Sorry, can I clarify? We do pay corporation tax. Our accounts for Amazon.co.uk.
Tiny bit in relation to your... I mean, you won't tell us your sales.
I recognise
tiny
that,
bit.
The other thing I would also highlight, we have paid in excess of 100 million in payroll taxes in the last 5 years. We've paid tens of millions in business rates in the past 5 years. And
I've heard this argument before. Let me just kill this argument because it really makes me cross. On the one hand, so does every other business. So the community-based bookshop that you're putting out of business also pays business rates, also pays its PAYE, also pays actually probably pays VAT in a way that you don't, and you in the same way, and you're making it uncompetitive. And the other thing is, you depend on the services that come out of the tax you pay. So, you know, you depend on the ability of your of getting your goods around. So you've got to get the roads in place. You depend on all those things. And probably worst of all, both you and Mr. Alsted employ people on probably minimum wage if we're lucky. And then we, the taxpayer, pick up the tax credit bill for that too. So we're putting a lot of money back into the people you put, and you're not putting enough tax into our economy. That's what's riling us all.
I don't.
Sorry, I shouldn't have done that, but Austin.
No, I thought that was very good. But I have to say, I'm a satisfied customer, and I love the service you provide. When you write to me and say, having bought this biography of John Major, you may be interested also in 50 Shades of Grey. But like the chair, I'm interested in why you pay so little tax, corporation tax particularly, in this country, so that we can pay some kind of benefit to all the booksellers you've put out of business, because undoubtedly you've put a large number of booksellers, some of them local in my case, out of business. And I don't get, frankly, from all this interview, why Luxembourg is so lucky. I mean, the books are here, the warehouses are here, the billing is here, the business is here, the customers are here. There are 134 staff on our figures in Luxembourg and 2,266 in the UK. According to Richard Murphy of Tax Research UK, in 2010, 1,228 million pounds of the profit was generated in the UK and 2.2 million in Luxembourg, and yet you pay tax in Luxembourg and not here. Now, I'll put it to you, that is really because you can offset a lot more costs against tax in Luxembourg, and in 2010 the figures seem to be that 7.56 billion of profits were, and offset against that was 7.4 billion of charges. So effectively, you were escaping pretty well scot-free in Luxembourg. That's why you're there, isn't it? And that's why we've got all this business about favouring Luxembourg.
So, may I address the various points one by one? Firstly, I'd like to again refute that we're putting booksellers out of business. I think what we're saying is that the internet retail industry is bringing huge benefits to consumers across Europe in terms of price, in terms of selection, in terms of convenience, and we're very much focused on continuing to invest to make sure that consumers can benefit from internet retail. On the figures you quoted, I really don't know where they've come from, so I can't comment on that. As I said earlier, our accounts both for Amazon.co.uk Limited and Amazon EU SAL are publicly available. I'd be very happy to provide the committee with a copy of those. I would like to confirm we do pay corporation tax in the UK, and obviously we also pay corporation tax on any profits also we make for Amazon EU SAL. I think that covers most of the points. I don't know whether I've missed any there.
Okay, Steve.
Who owns the Luxembourg company?
So Luxembourg is owned by a holding company which is a subsidiary of group companies.
So where's that located?
So the holding company is also based in Luxembourg.
That's also in Luxembourg. Okay. And it seems a slightly artificial arrangement, isn't it?
I'm not familiar with the details of the holding company, but I'd be very happy to come back to the committee.
Right. So what's the effective tax rate that you pay in Luxembourg?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
What's the effective tax rate you pay in Luxembourg?
So our worldwide, and I do have the figures here, our worldwide...
No, in Luxembourg.
In Luxembourg. So I would have to, I'd need to calculate it, apologise, but so for 2011, our net profit after tax was 20 million on revenues of 9.1 billion, and we paid...
Sorry, can you just say that again? In Luxembourg, your profit was 20 million?
Our revenues across Europe for 2011 for Amazon EU SAL was 9.1 billion euros. Our profit after tax was 20 million euros. And the tax expense...
So,
this was 20.
Yes, that's it.
Go on.
And maybe to that point, I'd point out to the committee, we are at the moment investing very, very significantly, not just in the UK, but across Europe, which may be reflected in these numbers.
sorry, Chair, could I continue, please? Do you have preferred equity certificates then in Luxembourg?
I wouldn't know, but I'm very happy to find out and come back to you. Maybe I can finish on the point, so that the tax we paid, and this is a tax expense recorded on our accounts for 2011.
What I'm interested in is how you're stripping out the profit in Luxembourg, because that's the impression. You know, if it's 9.1 billion going to 20 million, that suggests you're stripping out the profit in Luxembourg. Who owns the holding company?
I need to come back to the committee on those details.
So the profit's going into a company, it's then going to a holding company. What about the titling goods from affiliates or third parties?
Sorry, that's another unacceptable answer.
Yeah.
You're telling us you don't know the corporate structure of your company.
So
really?
I do know the corporate structure of the European company. I work for the European company, but I'd be happy to come back.
All we need to know who owns the holding.
You're the Director of Public Policy. It's incredible that you wouldn't know who owns the holding company. It's just not credible.
I'm very happy to come back to the committee.
Well, you can tell that we're not happy.
Do you know who owns it?
No, I will come back to the committee with
Do
the
you
answer.
know who owns?
No, I personally...
Do you know who owns?
No, I don't.
But it's where the money goes, isn't it?
Hasn't somebody behind you? Haven't you brought advisors with you?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, we've probably got another, 40 minutes, an hour to go, so I'm sure one of the advisors could go and make a call and come back to us in 10, 15 minutes with the answer with the Chair's permission. It can't be too difficult to phone head office and find out who owns it, can it not, Mr. Cecil?
I will certainly provide that information to the...
Okay, so we can have that before we close today. I think that would be useful. So could I come back to... what I'm interested really is into where the profit's going and how it's being stripped out. Can we sort of look at it in a different way through titling goods? from third parties and affiliates. Could you talk through how that is handled?
Again, I'm not quite sure what you're specifically talking about. I mean, I think it's very clear what our revenues, what our profits, and what tax expense we've accounted for across Europe. The goods that are in our fulfillment centres across Europe, the inventory does belong to Amazon U-Style, does not belong to the local entities or that we may have across Europe.
So why is the UK not a branch?
I'm not a detailed tax expert on that question, but again, I'd be very happy to come back on that.
Taxation.
Yeah, because it's a tax. It's not a business issue, is it?
Yeah.
It's being structured for tax.
Okay, shall I move on? Nick.
Thanks, Chair. I'll ask this question again. Of the 9.1 billion of European sales in 2011, what were your sales in the UK in 2011?
If I may, I'll give the same reply to the committee. I will come back to the committee, and if it's possible to disclose that figure, disclose that.
Can you say that again?
I will come back to the committee. I will see whether it's possible to disclose that figure. We have not disclosed those figures ever publicly, either on a country basis or on a website basis.
What's it so confidential what your earnings are by country? I mean, I might be missing something, being a generalist, but what's the secret that pertains to country by country data?
This is how we've disclosed our financial data over a number of years now. We have never broken out revenues on a country by country.
So what are you hiding?
We're not hiding anything, Chair. And I said I'm very happy to come back to the Chair on a confidential basis and see whether it's possible to disclose that.
Okay, that's Mr. Settle. That's the most ridiculous answer I've heard for months and months and months on this committee. It's just pathetic. Of the 9.1 billion sales you made in 2011, you said you made £20 million after tax. What did you make before tax?
I would assume, again, going back to the figures, as we had a tax expense that was around 8 million, that we're making a profit of the two combined, but I need to check.
So you made a profit of 30 million on revenue of 9 billion. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Well, no, we made, what I'm saying is we made an after-tax profit of 20 million on that specific.
So what was your profit before tax?
Before tax. I don't have that specific number there, but I'm happy to provide it.
We don't have anything. I mean, honestly, you come to us with absolutely no information. What's your job?
So I'm Director of Public Policy for Amazon across Europe.
Well, I mean, I think what we'll continue this afternoon, but I think what we're going to have to do is order somebody to come who can give us answers to the questions we ask. And we will order somebody to appear before us who does that, because it's just not acceptable. I don't know what you take us for, but we're not. We need proper answers to perfectly proper questions which are trying to establish the economic activity in this country, and therefore what would be a reasonable corporation tax due. That's our job. The idea that you come here simply don't answer the questions, pretend ignorance, is just not on. It's awful.
Chair, I'm very happy to provide the committee with any responses to these questions.
No, you should have come. I can't believe you come without the information, or they deliberately send you, and we will order somebody who can answer them in public.
What do you publish regarding the holding company? What data do you publish?
Okay, I'd have to come back. I apologise.
Well, that's where the money's going. I mean, the money's going from one Luxembourg company into the holding company. And what we want to try and get visibility on is the flow of money from that company into the holding company. And it does seem remarkable. You don't know who
I don't have the
it,
accounts for the holding company in front of me, but I will make sure that we provide those.
We'll have to come back to this. I'm just going to go through quickly, and then we'll go to Google, and then we've got some general questions. Fiona, Ian, if you can have a chance.
I'm struck by here is that you have a lot of satisfied customers who aren't trying to do Amazon down. It's in my constituency, what I thought was the headquarters of the company, which allegedly is in Luxembourg, but nevertheless, You know, when I've been taken round by Brian McBride and his successor Christopher North, I wasn't told that this is a Luxembourg-based company. I was saying, here we are developing lots of products. It didn't sound to me like an operation which ran fulfilment centres, i.e. warehouses all around Britain. It sounded to me like a company which was kind of being grown here, which got its ideas here, which made the bulk of its sales here. Are you saying that they misled me?
I wasn't with Mr. McBride. I'm sure Brian would have never misled you. As I said, we're operating on a single European company basis. We do have Amazon.co.uk Limited, which operates the fulfillment centres, and obviously in your constituency, we have our corporate headquarters for the UK. We're delighted to be there and employing hundreds of people.
Do you understand why we think, particularly when we aren't able to get detailed answers from you, that a company which has 30 times as many employees in the UK as in the place where it's allegedly headquartered, which developed itself in the UK? I mean, I remember when the first picking centre was in Slough, and which kind of developed a growth in the UK which has outstripped, I think I'm right in saying, other European markets. Do you understand why we think that there is a deliberate structuring of the company to make it pretend that the USA is just an operation which is warehousing and sending, and not is in any way an engine of this company? Do you understand why we're suspicious? Because we are, although we're happy customers.
So again, let me make it very clear. The fact that we're running a pan-European business actually has huge benefits to customers, to sellers, and to our suppliers. Let me give you a couple of examples. With a supplier, we will list their product, we will source on a pan-European basis, rather than just list on the UK website. We will list on all our websites, the UK website, the French website, the German website, the Italian website, and the Spanish website. That is mean we're driving greater reach, greater sales.
But you've just said to us that you can't tell us how much sales each of those websites generate.
Because and customers can shop off any of those websites. They don't need to shop off the UK website.
Absolutely. I understand that. And when I am buying Christmas presents for my relatives in America, I shop off the American website. Yes. I completely understand that. But each website must know what profits it returns or what sales it returns, because frankly, we think you manipulate your profits and that they are a separate thing to your sales. And you don't seem to be able to either tell us what sales each website returns and what profits each website returns. Those are two questions which, had I been coming before this committee, I would have known the answer to.
Mr. Cecil, I think you're not as serious. They've sent you up as a sort of, I don't know what. Yeah. You're not serious here.
Not at all.
Well,
no, I disagree. I disagree with you, Chair.
I mean, it's outrageous, and we are a very busy committee, but we will ensure that you... we want an answer to the question that we have.
Provide answers to all the questions you
No, we want to answer this afternoon to the question about the holding company, and B, we will expect a serious person to appear for us, and we will order them and do that as soon as we can after recess, probably on a Thursday morning. Right, Google. And then we... oh, sorry, did you want to have a go?
Yeah, can I just...
I don't think you'll get anything out of it, Ian.
There's one... Well, may not be. Be interesting to hear, won't it? One area we haven't touched on at all at the moment so far is VAT. And I would just like to know from you what... because there's no VAT on books, no. But Amazon sell plenty of other things, and they're killing lots of retailers in other fields now. We've just seen Comet go under. Can you tell me what VAT I pay if I buy an electrical item from Amazon? What rate of VAT?
Let me address the point about our competitors. We strongly believe that internet retail is highly beneficial to consumers.
And I'm not against internet retail, by the way. It's whether it's a level playing field.
So on consumer electronics, products, which I think was your question. For a sale to a customer in the UK, we would apply the standard UK VAT rate, and that would be collected on behalf of the UK government.
Even though I'm buying from a Luxembourg company. So how was it that 2 weeks ago you were pulled up for selling online books and only charging 3% VAT, even though you were charging British publishers 20% VAT, you were then only charging 3% VAT. You were using the Luxembourg tax rate to sell those. So is that something you do across other product lines, or was this a one-off?
So I think you're referring to consumer electronics versus e-books. For e-books...
I'm talking about VAT.
Yeah, it's the VAT applicable to consumer electronics versus e-books. For e-books, by law, we're required to apply the Luxembourg VAT rate on e-books because we are a Luxembourg-based company, which we do, which is 3% VAT.
So anyone in the UK selling e-books that has to charge 20% has a massive disadvantage against yourselves.
We think e-books is a very nascent, growing market segment. It's highly, highly competitive. There are many providers, both of devices and content, out there.
And how did you feel about the EU ruling that said you had to increase? Luxembourg wasn't allowed to do this anymore. They were given 30 days to increase it to 15%. How do you feel about that?
I can't comment on a ruling of the Commission. I think what we would say is, from our perspective, we firmly...
By November, you had to decide whether you were going to challenge it. Are you challenging that ruling?
Well, sorry, Chair, I don't think we're challenging the ruling. Amazon's not a party to these proceedings. I think what I would say is we firmly believe that a book is a book, regardless of...
But one thing you are in charge of, it's obviously not finance, you're in charge of public policy, and you don't know whether you're going to challenge an EU ruling. Isn't that a public policy matter?
I don't think you can challenge such an EU ruling. I'm not sure whether that's actually possible.
Are you being investigated, by the way? Is Amazon being investigated in a number of jurisdictions as we speak?
So I think we publicly disclosed...
Your tax affairs?
Yeah, so we publicly we are audited, very standard practice, in a whole range of jurisdictions.
Are you being investigated in the USA?
No, I can't comment on specifics.
You can't comment, or you are or you aren't?
No, as I said, we're regularly audited in a number of jurisdictions.
Are you being investigated? That's my question, in the USA.
I can't comment on any specific investigations.
You don't know?
No,
Are you being investigated in China?
I can't comment on what... I'm sorry, Chair, I'm not familiar with...
Well, your public policy, you might know this. Are you being investigated in China?
I'm not aware of any investigations against us in China.
Are you sure that's the truth?
Personally, I'm not aware of any.
Are you being investigated in Germany?
I'm not aware of any investigations in China.
Are you being investigated in France?
We have publicly declared in our most recent findings that we have received an assessment from the French tax authorities, and we dispute that assessment.
You are. In Japan?
I'm not aware of whether that's it personally.
And in Luxembourg?
No, not as far as I'm aware.
Okay, let's move on to Google.